So, you want to get to Masters. Let's talk about this. Hey everybody, what is going on? Brandon here, and since my beginner's guide to Realm Royale did so good, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do a guide to help other people get Masters rank in Realm Royale. They just reset the ranks, so everybody's grinding again to get Masters. They promised us rewards at the end of the season for anybody who gets Masters, so a lot of people are grinding for it, and I decided, you know what, I've got a pretty good playstyle that works really well for me, and has helped me get Masters before, it's helping me get Masters now. I'm going to go ahead and do a tips and tricks guide to newer players, or anybody even that has not gotten Masters yet, or even if you have and you just want some tips to hopefully get better at playing. These are my tips and tricks for getting Masters and winning games. I do want to go ahead and say, this is my personal style. Like, these tips and tricks, these are all based off my personal time in the game, my playing the game. This is how I've gotten Masters in the past. This is how I'm getting it now. This is how I play now, and this is how I win. So if you disagree with something I said in the video, games are subjective. Everybody's got their own style. These are just what works well with me. So please don't listen to this and then get mad because I said something that you don't agree with just because you play a different style. These are my personal tips from my style. So with that being said, moving on with the first item on the agenda. So coming in at number 1, and this one's pretty easy, even though a lot of people are going to be mad, and that is stop dropping in Lumber Fall. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people love dropping there. They love hot dropping. They like all the action and the combat. And it's a fun place to drop. I'll admit, if you're achievement hunting or quest hunting, it's a good place to drop. But if you're trying to win games, why are you dropping in Lumber Fall? I don't think I've really seen hardly anybody drop there, land there, and then win the game. People drop there, get a bunch of kills, then usually die. And if the point was to get kills, then great. But the point of the game is to be the last one standing and to win, not to get kills. So it doesn't matter how many kills you got if you're losing. If you're planning on winning and you really want Masters, easiest suggestion I can give you is stop hot dropping. Stop dropping in Lumber Fall where everybody's dropping, and just so you can get some kills. If you're wanting to win, you gotta play the long game. You gotta play to win, not play to get kills. Coming in at number 2 is weapons. Now, I recommend having a DPS weapon, something that can kind of chip away at armor and health, and a finisher weapon. Now, this is more geared towards early game and mid game because usually at the end you have your specific weapons that everybody likes to use for their playstyle. But for early game and mid game, I recommend having one high DPS and one just like a finisher, like a revolver, a slug rifle, even an heirloom, something with high damage output, even though it might not have the best fire rate, something that does a large deal of damage in one go rather than chip away. And that's for 2 reasons. One being because generally when you shoot at somebody, they're going to be trying to take cover, they're going to be trying to hide, and if you have a weapon that's only got 6 rounds in it and you shoot at them once and you've got a slow rate of fire, they're more than likely going to take cover and use a health potion or an armor potion before coming back and engaging with you again. So using a weapon like a slug rifle or an heirloom or a revolver even real early, especially if you're not too close to them and they have some places to cover, pretty much just gives away your location as well as gives them time to recover that. Using something like an SMG, an assault rifle, something with a faster fire rate, even a pistol, you can hit them a few times to take away some stuff to where they can get back. They're not really going to be able to recover very much if you close the distance fast enough. But the big thing is, because you have such a higher ammo count, like with the SMG you have I think 35, might be 31, I think it's 35 now, but with the assault rifle you have 30, you can do burst shots. You can hit them with a couple bullets at a time and still have quite a bit left in your magazine. So when you do close the distance and start dealing that heavy damage on them and get them chickened, you can swap between weapons rather than spending the time to reload, giving them time to an escape. So you can actually use one of the weapons with a higher ammo count that do lower damage to kind of chip away at them without having to constantly reload while dealing out mass amounts of damage with your heavy weapon. So like personally what I like to do early game, if I find like an SMG or an assault rifle that and I can't find much else, I'll grab that and a slug rifle. If I see somebody, I'll try to close the distance, chip away at them, try to get rid of almost as much of their armor or health as I can, hopefully chicken them. If I can chicken them, great. Instantly switch to the heavier weapon, deal 3 shots with a slug or a revolver, and finish them off. That's usually the easiest way to do it. That way they don't really have time to escape because you're dealing such mass amount of damage real fast. I guess you could also reverse that order if you really wanted to. I just feel starting off with the DPS weapon is a lot easier than starting off with the heavier weapon. A lot less risk and a lot more reward. And speaking of DPS, coming up at number 3 is avoid the Gatekeeper. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Avoid the Gatekeeper. Don't use it. It's pretty much the most worthless gun in the game, at least one of them. I think the Bolt Staff is actually, in my eyes, the worst weapon in the game. But the Gatekeeper is pretty much pointless. With the LMG in the game, there's no point in the Gatekeeper. Its wind-up is too high. Its reload time is way too high. Its spread is way too much. Its range is not nearly far enough that you would really get use out of it. And the spread is so bad at distance anyway, you really can't do much damage anyway. Really, the only good place to use the Gatekeeper is up close, but with its fast wind-up time, its slow reload time, there's really no point in it. With the LMG, if you have the option for the LMG or the Gatekeeper, in my opinion, choose the LMG every time. The Gatekeeper is great to find because I love breaking it down for the amount of shards that I'm going to get to craft with. But anytime I run into the Gatekeeper, it gets broke down. It's too much risk, not enough reward when it comes to DPS there. Yes, it's got high damage output, but there's too much risk in using it. You're never going to win a fast gunfight with it. So my recommendation, you find it, break it down, leave it, something. Don't pick it up, especially if you can get an LMG or anything else really. Next up is a pretty simple one. Play with all the classes. Even if you don't like them, play with all the classes. Get used to using all the classes. Used to using all the different weapons. Even if you don't like them, play with them. It will benefit you greatly because things you might not know how to counter, you'll learn how to counter once you actually start playing as the class because you'll see how people will beat you when you're using these OP weapons or these OP classes. Right now, the game is pretty well balanced. I will say the Mage needs some love now. She's kind of been nerfed a little bit into the ground. But the game's pretty well balanced. The Shredder had a buff or a nerf that actually broke it and made it OP for about a day. They fixed that, but a lot of people don't know that they fixed it, so they still think it's OP because they don't know how to counter it. And if you play with the Assassin and you play with the Shredder enough, you'll learn how to counter it. Just as a quick example, for the Shredder, as an example, there's 2 easy counters I can tell you right off the top of my head to counter the Shredder. One being the Warrior with the Heroic Leap and the talent that gives you a little bit of shield after landing with Heroic Leap, and a sword. Especially if you have Edge Master. That will counter the Shredder every time. Jump forward, the shield will protect you from the Shredder, you close the distance, take him out with the sword. They have 2 options when you close that distance. They can either run, in which they're not shooting at you, or they can stay and fight, in which they won't out-damage you unless you've significantly took a bunch of damage and you were already outclassed anyway. That's the only time the sword won't win there. If you are both equal health, equal armor, the sword's going to win every time. Another one is Ice Block and Ghost Walk with the Mage, or really with anybody, but it works better with the Mage because she gets talent boosts. But that's a really easy counter to the Shredder also. Ghost Walk through it to avoid damage, Ice Block to recover any health you take. Timer runs out, Ghost Walk again, rinse and repeat. Use that to come up with a counterattack, close the distance. It really don't matter what weapon you got, when you have those 2, you can find a way to kill an assassin. There's plenty of counters there. So yeah, play with all the classes. Play with every single one of them. Even if you can't stand them, play with them. Learn how they work so you can learn how to counter them. Anytime they release a new patch and balance gets shifted, play with the class that the balance has been shifted to. Learn how to counter it by playing as it. That's the best example I can give you guys to learn how to counter stuff, is just play as those people, play as those classes that are beating you and learn how to beat them. It's pretty easy. Coming in at number 5 is hide when you're a chicken. You make more noise when you're a chicken and you're moving than you do when you sit still. I don't know if a lot of you knew that, but when you move, you actually make more noise. When you sit still, sometimes you can make as little to no noise. So when you get a chance, if you are chickened, especially if there's a lot of gunfighting going on and other people are fighting and you can kind of sneak off and hide somewhere as long as you're not drawing attention to yourself, sneak off and hide. It works out a lot better. I've survived more times as a chicken from finding a spot to hide and kind of just sitting still for a minute rather than trying to run off. When you run off, you make a bunch of noise, they find you, they kill you, and you lose. So when you're a chicken, if you can, find a place to hide. It might not always work, but it is a lot better than trying to run and making a bunch of noise. Coming in at number 6, and this actually might rub people, or some people, the wrong way, is use the right mount. Now, all the mounts move at the same speed. No mount has a movement speed advantage, hitbox advantage, none of that. So when I say use the right mount, it's not about speed. It's mostly just about situational awareness. Certain mounts make certain sounds and sound a certain way and look a certain way, which helps a lot more strategically, even though a lot of people don't really think about it. Currently, right now, the best mounts to use are either the Sunstrider mount, the Tropical Traveler, I think is what it's called. It's like a toucan mount, or the blorp. The blorp being the best one right now because it's green, it's clear, it blends in at a distance in the grassy areas. So like if you're on a hilltop and you're moving slowly but you're in your mount, you're going to blend in a little bit more. You're not going to catch people's eyes as much, but mostly because of the sound they make. The blorp is not a really loud mount. It's kind of quiet. It makes a squishy sound, and it blends in a lot more to the ambient sounds in the area, such as the wind blowing or birds making noises or basically any of the ambient noises going on, especially if you're around water. It blends in a lot more. So it's easier to use and people not notice it as well, especially if they're busy already engaging another player. It blends in a lot more and makes it harder for them to kind of catch on that somebody's there. Now, it's not perfect. Yeah, obviously, if they're paying attention, they're listening for it, they're going to hear it. But it does blend in a lot more than a horse galloping. So it blends in a lot more and is probably, honestly, the best mount in the game right now. Only followed by the bird mounts, the Strider, and the whatever, the tropical one. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but those are the next best ones to use for 2 reasons, and it's all sound related. One being that they use bird noises in a lot of the areas in Realm Royale, especially the grassy areas, that sound very similar to the same sound that the bird mounts make when you summon them. So a lot of newer players or players that aren't familiar with that might think it's just an ambient sound when it actually could be you coming on your way to slaughter them. It's not perfect. If somebody knows the sounds of the game, they're going to know obviously it's a mount. But a lot of newer players, they're not going to really know the difference, so that small advantage will help you against them, at least if you're just trying to sneak up on them. Also, the bird mounts only have 2 legs instead of 4. I don't know how many of you have heard how loud the horse's gallop is in this game, but I think most of you can attest that the horse's gallop is a lot more noticeable than just the 2 feet that you can hear when the bird mount's near you. So it's definitely a lot quieter and easier to sneak around on. Next up is be patient when looking at an enemy at a distance. Don't get trigger happy and just start shooting at people at a distance. It's usually not a good idea. It's really not. Now, if you know somebody's taking a lot of damage or you know they're not, going to be able to put up too much of a fight, and you got a sniper with a reload rune and you can take them out quickly, sure, shoot at them. But if you're not really sure, if this person might have full health and you just see them off at the distance and you're not really sure how much damage they can take or how much damage you're going to be able to dish out, don't even bother shooting at them. Too many times I've seen people, and even I make the mistake sometimes. I get trigger happy and I do it. I make the mistake, so I really need to practice what I preach. But you'll see somebody at a distance and you'll have like a longbow or a sniper or an heirloom, and you'll decide, well, you know what, I think I can shoot them and I can hit them. And you shoot them and you get a headshot and it looks awesome and you're just pumped, but then they know where you are. There's cover for them to take. They take cover, they heal up, and then by the time you get over to them, they've been expecting you, and they just, melt you. That's never fun. All you're doing is giving away your location and giving them an opportunity to know not only that they're being shot at, but where they're being shot at from, and be able to prepare for you to actually attack them. So rather than shoot at a distance, move in closer, sneak around, scout the area. You also never know if somebody else is also scouting that same enemy you are. So shooting at them might also give your location away to other enemies. So it's better to move in close, sneak around, scout the area before attacking somebody that you see in a distance. Just be patient. If you want to win, you got to be patient. Coming in at number 8, on a related note, if you see 2 people fighting and one of them gets chickened and they don't see you, don't shoot the chicken. I know it's tempting to steal that kill. I know it is. I've done it. It feels pretty nice watching somebody get ready to get a kill, and right as soon as they're getting ready to get it, you just pick it off. But this isn't a matter of honor or nothing. Don't do it because it gives away your location. Right there you have 2 people fighting, 2 people hurting each other. 2 people that are enemies. You need to get rid of them. They need to not be in the game. Who gets rid of them is not your problem. They just need to not be there, and you need to stay there. So when you see 2 people fighting and one of them gets chicken, don't attack the chicken. Let the enemy finish him off. Once the enemy finishes him off, don't give him time to heal. Attack him. Take them down. And then 2 birds with 1 stone, almost quite literally. Be patient. Wait for him to finish it off. As much as that extra kill sounds nice, winning is better. And getting rid of 2 people is better than getting rid of 1. Because if you shoot that chicken, who knows? That other guy, like I was just talking about, shooting somebody in the distance, might take cover, heal up, come back and kill you. Or better yet, another person might be planning on trying to do what you're doing. If you're going to be a vulture, you want to be the last vulture. You want to wait it out, scout the area, make sure everybody's gone, and take out whoever's left. So yeah, be patient again, but never shoot a chicken when you see two people fighting unless you know you're going to be able to finish that other person off right away. Coming in at number 9 is prepare for close range during the end game. Now, going from beginning of the match through mid-match, long-range weapons are very beneficial. They can do a lot of good, but when you're getting closer to end game, when the circle's getting smaller, you're going to be closer together. So having things like a slug rifle and a sniper are not going to do you a lot of good when you're really close to somebody. So I recommend close range, faster fire rate weapons for end game. It always works out better for me if I have something like a shredder and an heirloom, or a sword with maybe an SMG or an LMG. The shredder is always going to be my go-to. It's always been a good one ever since it was just the venom pistol. It's been a good one for close range, especially when you're just trying to chip away at somebody's armor. So I highly recommend when you're going into in-game, find at least one good close range weapon, maybe one medium to long range weapon. But generally, I go with close range weapons at the end almost every time, and it's not really seemed to fail me. So prepare for close range at the end. Try to get away. If you go into in game with a sniper and a longbow, you're going to be in for a long game. So close range at the end is the best tip I can give you when it comes to preparing for the in game combat. And last at number 10, and this one's going to be controversial. I know some people are going to be upset by this, even though what I'm about to say is 100% right. Do not be afraid to hide at the end. If you're in the top 4 or top 5, do not be afraid, or do not be ego hurt enough to where you will risk losing the game just to be aggressive. Playing aggressive at the end is not the smart way to go. I don't care what anybody says, that is not the smart way to go. Being aggressive at the end is really not. The best way I have found to do it is once you get to at least the top 3, stop moving. Move as little as possible, make as little as noise as possible. What you want to be doing is you want to be listening. You want to be listening for where your enemies are. You want to try to hear them. You want to try to figure out where they are on the map. You want to try to not let your location known as much as possible. Know where they are so you can know, okay, who is where, who do I have to kill first, who am I going to have to kill last, and then hopefully by the time the last circle is getting ready to close, those two players find each other, they start fighting while you just sneak around, waiting for your opportunity to pounce, finish them off, and win. Never be afraid to hide at the end if it means you're going to get the win. Now, you can be aggressive all throughout the game. If you get 12 kills and you're in the last 5, there is no point in going out to try to get more kills if you can win the game. Wait it out, be patient. As I said in the beginning of the video, the point is to win, not get kills. If you want to worry about kills, worry about that after you get Master's Rank and after you collect these 50 wins. Then worry about your kills. Right now, if you're wanting to get Master's Rank, focus on winning. And I'm telling you, the easiest way to win is near the end to make sure you take as little damage as possible. I mean, it's just basic science, math, and logic. Just don't take damage you don't need to take. But guys, that's all the time I got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video and you want to see more, please do me a favor and hit that red subscribe button. If you want to know anytime Nathan or I upload videos, please do us a favor and hit that bell icon. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.